I'm sure that we've taken note of that exercise. Now, the law of the rubber band. I'm sure we all have seen a rubber band before. At some point, you have had to use a rubber band. And just try to picture a rubber band in your head right now. That thing, as it is on your desk, is useless by itself. In fact, your cleaner that comes to your office can just tidy up the table and mistakenly just throw the thing in the dustbin, because just there by itself, it is useless. It is inconsequential. It is not serving any purpose. When that rubber band is just at its state of inertia, the rubber band doesn't help itself, neither does it help you. Growth requires stretching. If you remain in your comfort zone, if you remain in a state where you are fine and you are happy, if you remain in a state where you are just going like a robot, it's just like a circle you seem to be going around in, there's nothing new you are adding to what old faces you're seeing. It is the same old people you are seeing. It is the same discussion you are having. It is the same tasks you are doing. It is the same run you find yourself, the same shift, the same road you're driving, the same meals you're preparing. In fact, their meals are not even so difficult. Some of their meals are even pre-made. You just go to the freezer, you bring it out and put it in the microwave, you heat it up, and then you serve them. The same thing you're doing over and over again. And imagine you're doing this for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, no growth. It will even affect your growth, your intelligence. It will affect how you begin to interact with your external environment and with your world. Growth requires stretching. Just like the rubber band, you need to find opportunities and avenues to stretch yourself. Now, there's some domiciliary care that does it slightly differently. And the way they do it is this. This week, you are on this run. So you're visiting this client and you're visiting these homes. And the next week, it's a different run entirely. With that, when you're driving in a different road, you are curious, you want to know the road. How many of you have noticed that, let's say you're walking in, I just want to give an example of Lagos, say in Lekki Phase 1, and then you live at Aja, Abraham Adesanya, for example, and then you walk at Lekki Phase 1, and then you walk Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and you walk in this same place, let's say you walk there for 5 years. You will notice that a time will come, once you get into your car from the office, you start the ignition and you begin to drive. You'll be so lost in thought that you won't even know when you get to the gate of your house. Sometimes, if it is going back to work, you'll be so lost in thought on your way, you won't know when you get to the office. Now, your brain appears to be in that situation of an auto run. But then bear in mind, when you get to the office, you're facing new challenge, you're meeting new people, and then you're even doing courses, you're doing different things. Your mind is interacting and then it's growing. And then maybe there are some even tasks and challenges that you need to, maybe, there's a new project, your team lead or your manager tells you, we need to get this done. There's this new client that's coming on board. We need to go and research this new industry on how to be able to serve them better. These things are growing and helping you. But in this environment where you don't even need to think, you don't need to even bother your mind, you don't even need to grow your mind. These are even things that are even lower than your normal intellect. Intelligence to be able to prepare somebody's meal. You don't need your intelligence to be able to get somebody dressed for the day or to get them ready for bed. If you are not intentional to stretch your brain, you will be shocked that your children, simple exercises from school, they'll bring to you, mommy, how about this and that? You cannot remember, you don't even know them. So you need to find how to intentionally grow yourself, grow your mind, and then see how to deliberately increase. Now, one of the things that is being done that a lot of people take for granted, here in the UK is every year, and sometimes it's even more than once in a year, there's what is called e-learning, right? Where you have to go through certain learning process. And the courses, sometimes they are 8, some 15, some are even more. And those things are very boring because they're similar to what you've always done. What else can you do outside this routine of the work you are doing? Because again, This work you really do not need, if not that is a very delicate industry, you really do not need to go and read so much for you to get into it. It's just to watch somebody do it 3-4 hours and you try to practice it. You are uneducated. You've gone to school, you've even done some more technical things. So how do you then expand yourself? This is a job or industry that you're going to find yourself, let's say, for about 5 years to get your permanent leave to remain, your ILR. 5 years you're doing the same thing, and after 5 years you come out and then you've got your ILR, your permanent residence, and then you're not motivated in life. You cannot grow beyond what you've always done. Now there are certain things you need to do. I'm going to get to that as we move on. Growth happens when you push beyond your comfort zone. Avoid settling for the status quo. Again, there are some people who even come to the UK. Sorry to say, they come to the UK, on study visa, right? Some of them they come, they study some very fantastic courses, project management. Some of them they come to study great courses. Just think about it: courses on management, courses on engineering, on architecture, beautiful courses, great courses that they can use in getting job. But because they want to settle in the UK, they go into care. And then when they get in there, they forget and abandon whatever it is they've learned in school, and then they stay there. And then with that now, they find themselves that they are static and they're not going beyond that. Another side to it, finding yourself in that industry, if you're not stretching yourself beyond what you are being taught or what you are doing. The other day, somebody was sharing with me that his team lead came to supervise what he was to do for the evening session of the work. Sorry, for the evening shift. So he had done the morning and then he went on break, and then when he was coming back, he discovered in his list of rota that his team lead was going to be with him for the rest of that evening. And then he said that all of the conversation in the VC they had, the team lead told him that, are you aware that there's an opening for a team lead? We're actually, looking for a team lead for a particular run. And I've studied you. I think if you put in for the role, you might be suitable for it. If you do not stretch yourself beyond just what everybody is doing, the status quo, how can you even think about the possibility of being eligible for a new role or for a higher role, which of course will expose you to bigger challenges and of course will give you better pay? And then true progress requires stepping outside familiar pattern. Again, like I said, this job can be very boring and monotonous, just doing the same thing. But stretching is an internal process. Growth starts first from the mindset. And as you do this, you realize that you want to do more than what you're doing on your 8 to 9 shift, or sorry, from your 8 to 5 shift, or depending on how your shift is. You want to grow and stretch yourself beyond just that comfort zone. And with that, you find out that you are useful to yourself and then, of course, to the clients.